Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? It is me, your humble host, TheEndBoss, and today we're going to be discussing digital rights management, DRM, and what is happening lately with Doom. Because, well, in case you haven't seen the most recent reviews on Steam, which I'll pull up here for you, Doom is getting bombed, alright? And if you can't see where it is starting, I'll go ahead and point it out for you. It's that giant red bar on the right, and that is a result of the new DRM that they have added from Denuvo, which is basically the standard issue kernel mode driver, which means it sits in your computer at base root level access. It is the startup with Windows style of DRM that Riot just famously got absolutely shredded for. And it's crazy to think about someone would watch what's happening with Riot, see the Valorant issues, and then do this after. Okay, that's just mind-blowing to me. That they couldn't see this coming is a shock. But there was a big update for Doom. They added some compatibility thing where if a demon kills a player in another world, it can transport to your world. And I guess they really don't want people exploiting that. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to add this kind of DRM after launch. A lot of people have been really pissed off, and rightfully so, because you didn't know this was coming into your product at the very beginning when you purchased it, then you have every right to be as pissed as I am right now. Continuing through, we're going to be talking about DRM and other games, namely games that have handled it incredibly well, and games that may not have done so good in the past. One of the worst examples, I think, if anybody hasn't been prepared, Diablo 3. Was such a majestic wait time. I was so hyped to play Diablo 3, and then, you know, we learned it was going to be all online. Not that much of a big deal, right? It really isn't. I don't mind that much. I've got a stable internet connection. It's not the greatest thing, but on launch day, we had the joys of encountering this screen. If you were there with me, you know what I'm talking about, and that's good old-fashioned classic Error 37. Now, this absolutely atrocious, terrible tragedy of a game was just marred by issues from the start, and this was the biggest one, not being able to play it. Come on, guys. I really want to jump in and start slaying some demons. I guess that's kind of a theme for me in DRM. Doom, demons, Diablo, DRM. Continuing through, though, it wasn't the worst of it. Diablo 3's DRM actually even got cracked. There was gameplay that could be done offline. Now, sure, talking about DRM, you have to understand that piracy was a big issue. People were stealing games all the time. But when you add something as trivial and disgustingly invasive as the DRMs that they've been doing lately, you're not turning pirates into purchasers. At no point do you take someone who wasn't going to buy your game and then make them buy your game. It's just not the policy. That's not how those people's brains work. It's not how their wallets work. Not saying I might have been one of them at some point, but in any case, the whole point being, when you add DRM that's this invasive and this troublesome, you bog down your current player base. You create issues for the people that already purchased your game. Okay? They already own it. And this isn't just an issue with anti-cheat or DRM, it's an issue with, like, well, I don't want to keep going on to this well, let's talk about the good ones. Let's talk about the good guys in this scenario, because there are some incredibly good guys out there. We have CD Projekt Red and The Witcher 3, which was launched with no DRM. That is one of the most anticipated titles in all of history of video games, and there was no DRM. There was nothing to stop you from downloading it and stealing it. And you know what they said as a response? CD Projekt Red was basically like, if you like our game so much, you really enjoyed it, buy it afterwards, we don't care. And that ranked, it sold over 10 million copies. 10 million copies with no DRM. Sure, people are going to download it. Sure, people are going to play it, but that game was so good, they came back to it, and they bought it. I can't tell you how I'm a big fan of The Witcher 3. I think it's one of the greatest games of all time. But on top of that, CD Projekt Red's handling of DRM was one of the greatest things. And here's a little tidbit that they threw into The Witcher regarding that topic, and I think this was really cute. This was a journal that you could find in the game. All right, this is a journal that you picked up and would read, and in case you can't, I'll read it to you here. The Defensive Regulatory Magicon, or DRM for short, wink wink, nudge nudge, belongs to the above-mentioned group of the longest-lasting, most effective, and hardest-to-break defensive mechanisms. In order to recognize the individual administering it, it makes use of a portal mounted at the entrance of the area it is to defend. The portal passes streams of magical energy through the body of a person entering and can, in the blink of an eye, determine if the person has the corporeal signature, eyeball structure included, of the entitled administrator. As a result, the only unauthorized individuals that can possibly hope to enter are mimics. So basically here, they're poking right at DRM's core. The idea that you have to have purchased this. And it's so cute that they included this in the game. There's a lot more stuff that The Witcher 3 did right, but that's not all we're going to be talking about. The Witcher 3 was just an incredible game. Please go play it. It's one of my favorite games, at least top 3 of all time. But this isn't just the only form of DRM. DRM has been around since, 90s gaming, and this was much more complex because they were trying to figure out systems, okay? Some games that I used to purchase would have printed manuals that came with them. Every game has a printed manual. But to prevent photocopying, it would have been a black-on-black printed manual. And this is just, standard. This wasn't like color copying was a thing. This was all black and white. So you couldn't copy the book and give it to a friend. If you wanted to give the game to a friend, it was easier for you to copy the discs it was on than it was to copy the actual booklet. Because black on black, copy it, you see nothing. And randomly throughout these games, they would jump in there and say, turn to page number 43, code A, word number 7, and type that into this box. And if you didn't, it'd kick you right out. You would just be gone, out of the game, no save, no nothing. A lot of games did this back in the day, Warcraft, Master of Orion, lots of classics, and also one of the most insane DRMs at the time, and I'll show you why. I actually have a screenshot here of the wheel, all right? This was the Pool of Radiance Advanced Dungeons & Dragons computer product wheel. It would randomly come up and ask you to organize the wheel in such a manner and produce the hieroglyphs necessary and match them. And this, if you did not do it, would kick you out. And I was pretty young during this stuff, so I had a lot of trouble getting this all situated. In any case, DRM has not gone away. It's evolved, it's changed, it's moved forward. But the fact that companies are still trying to put this kernel and root access DRM in your computers, even after the bad publicity again, Doom, Valorant, let's be real, guys. If you have to go this far on the offensive to stop it, then there's a bigger problem that you need to address. And I don't think putting root access into people's machines is ever going to solve that issue. It clearly hasn't with Valorant and cheaters, so it's not going to do anything as far as Doom. Now, what does this mean? What are we going to see in the future? I hope the companies take more of a CD Projekt Red approach, much like The Witcher 3, and continue through with that sort of stuff. But geez, guys, seriously, stop shoveling stuff in my computer that I didn't ask for. I already paid for the game. I'm a happy player. Don't do this to your player base. You're really just screwing everybody over. Again, look what you've done to your game's product. Look at these reviews. It's just going to get worse if you don't fix it. And nobody looks like they're going to fix it for Doom. I think we're kind of stuck with this. They already shelled out their money for the DRM, but it's something I'm very heated about. In any case, guys, if you liked the video, be sure to subscribe for more amazing content as we continue through. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I am TheEndBoss, and I will remain TheEndBoss until somebody takes that mantle from me. Take care of yourselves and stay safe.